Here we go.
Hmm.
We're 3 seconds in. Let me see. All right, there we go. Okay, now I can see what it
Oh
looks
shit.
like. All right, why is that? Okay, nobody's viewing, so I don't really give a fuck right now. I'm just trying to see what the. So the Volkanovski, the page is hella big right now. So what if
Oh.
I change it like that? What does it do? Okay, so no matter what, if it's up, it's the main focal point, and we're over on the side.
Both of us. Are we small? Like.
Yeah, over on the side. But if I take away the graphic
Oh.
and let's see what it looks like now. Hold on. Viewers. Sorry guys, we're still working out some kinks here. Um
Let's see.
I'm trying to I think the thing on here is delayed, so I'm trying to like cuz I don't deck still says that we have the Rodriguez stuff up.
Hmm.
Oh, there's freaking Joey's up in there in the chat. What's up, Joey?
What's up, guys?
There, okay, so then it finally switched. Damn, that took
Okay.
forever. But maybe it did it like, but it might have done it like right when we did it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, let's start the show.
This fucking weekend.
Welcome to the Peak One Fight Night preview brought to you by the Bungalow Sports Show. I am Cole. That is Alexis.
What's up?
We just started the show. I'm trying to like view us on my phone at the same time so I can like make sure we don't look really stupid. Just to kind of see what it looks like. But all right, cool, cool,
You're just
cool.
gonna get caught up in the delay. It's like, wait.
Yeah,
See,
I'm not
see
gonna
how I
look
look
at it.
like.
I'm not gonna look at it.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it looks kind of cool. My hair looks stupid. We're live, Alexis. We're live. Damn it.
I know.
Um,
This is pretty fun.
yeah.
I've
So
tried to do a
this.
live podcast like years ago and it failed miserably.
Well, you and I did that one where we did the fight companion, recorded it, and then you could like play it back. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
uh, uh, that wasn't live. It was like live to tape. You know what I mean? Where like we did the
Yeah.
commentary live. But this whole like everybody's like people are watching it right this second. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I like having control. I like going back and like and editing stuff
Or
out.
or if you just say something, you're just like, whatever. I'll just fix it later.
Right, right.
Everything now has to be solidified. Watch what we say.
So we took a week off last week. I had like a pretty crazy work week, so I couldn't do them during the middle of the day with you. And then I
Yeah.
did a random bungalow chat show with my buddy Daniel. The card was kind of anyway, so like nobody cared about it but me and Alexis anyways. So we skipped last week. Alexis was
Yeah.
traveling back home from his ill-fated podcast in the studio. Next time you come in town, you can't come in here. You just have to do it remote from your
Just have to
in-laws
do a
house
remote from.
from across town because like you came in here and I screwed the whole thing up.
That's only happened once though. Like we've that was the first
Well,
time out of how many times like just on this
sure.
network, but it was like
I've I've said it once. I said it before. Like I'm good for at least like two amateur screw ups like a year on my
yeah.
podcast. You know what I mean? Like forgetting to press record, doing like nothing's worse though than like recording like 2 hours of like good podcasts and then realize you haven't
Yeah.
been recording anything or like the thing the computer froze up in between and you weren't looking at it or whatever like that.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's the worst.
You get so caught up in the moment and you just like you what is you take advantage that or take for granted that like you and I like we both like we're speaking with mics and stuff like that. Just like but that audio was from the camera audios. Like that's what normal people are used to hearing. Or like when they record something it is basically off their phone. Like that's how it sounds like.
Well, you know what? Right now, I'm just
What?
realizing. I think. I don't think your microphone is picking you up. I think we're getting a.
What the fuck? Are you serious?
I just noticed because you have such a nice microphone that Paris always tells me your mic sounds better than mine. So that's the only. I just thought of it right now. I was like, wait a
Oh
second.
my!
He sounds a little room mic-ish. Nope.
What the?
Hey, it's okay, buddy. We're live, baby. It's fine. So if you're watching this right now and you're wondering like what the hell we're doing, we've got our Bungalow Fight Night live coming up on the 29th, where we're gonna do a live stream. We're gonna have people in studio. We're gonna have people coming in remote, and this is like our dry run. Don't expect this show to be live every week, okay? Like we're putting in graphics afterwards. I like the way this show goes, not live. So we'll do live events, and we needed to, practice a little bit. So this is our practice, okay?
Okay. I forgot to turn on my my preamp for the mic.
Hear it now. I can hear it.
Yeah. So yeah, I forgot to turn on the mic.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, it's fine. You know what I mean? Bear with us, everybody. We're just we're just testing this out for our live stream, and I thought we'd do it tonight because I did this strategically because I figured this time of day, this particular show is going to get the least amount of live eyeballs on it, so we can just do one of these and practice, and then it'll come out later, and people can watch it. The recorded version later and just fast forward through the whole thing if it sucks too bad. But let's get into it, man. So let's get right into last week's card. Since we didn't do a preview, let's do a review of Fight Night Strickland versus Magomedov. I have a graphic for it, but you know what? I'm not going to pull it up because on the broadcast, it's going to make us really small, and we'll wait till we have the fight card up that can take up most of the screen. So last weekend was UFC Fight Night, and it was Strickland versus Magomedov. The first week since this show started, we haven't done a show and haven't made official picks or bets or anything else. And why don't you tell them what happened, Alexis?
I went 9-0 in my picks.
Alexis went 9-0. Oh my God. On the one night when there's no like video proof that we picked them all, but Alexis, like, you sent me the screen capture of like a text thread that had all your picks in it just to prove that you picked them before they won.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been, that's not like the very first time, but like,
hey, turn your mic up a little bit. Sorry.
It used to happen regularly.
Good. Better.
It used to happen a lot more regularly, but since like there's been an influx of new fighters, like hitting like 9-0 is like,
it's insane. We haven't been able to do that in a minute.
The 9-0, especially with the bad judging calls, like even I won those fights.
Right. Even the ones where you got the bad judging, it's like the bad judging was in your favor. The freaking underdogs were in your favor. The favorites were in your favor. It was a banner night.
Who is it? Bruno Fajeda and that one cat from Kazakhstan. Like, okay, if you were in the right mindset, like, Bruno Fajeda had a what is it, what do you call it? A hype train with him, right? 10-0 fighter. But he's fighting some Russian dude who came from WEF that's 34 fights and like 9 losses or something like that. Like, come on, dude. Like, your 10-0 is not going to amount to that. And plus, he's like 6'5", like this giant dude fighting this 5'7". Yeah,
it was a very interesting fight to watch just because of the size difference. Those are always funny ones to watch where you're just kind of like, what's going to happen here? But the historical 9-0, one of those nights where you wish, because back when I was just throwing money around on fight cards, if I had a bunch of individual bets I was making, that had a
Yeah.
nice little string along the card with it, I would just throw in a little quick parlay of all those bets too in one parlay, just in case I hit all my single bets.
Yeah.
I would hit the big boy too. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't put a bunch of money on it, but I'd put like
Yeah.
$3 or $4 on like a 9-fight, whatever the max was, 7-fight parlay or 8-fight parlay, and I hit 2 of those, and those would suck me in. We always talk about that, and like last night was the reason that those exist, is because if you could have just as easily put a $2 or $3 parlay on all 9 of those fights, just because you're like, oh, I'm not really betting on this, we'll just do a fight parlay with all my picks, and then and then you're like, why didn't I put more? Like it's just
what could have
what could have
like,
been.
really, I was like, no more. We're done with the parlays, and then that happens. So,
Right. Hey, we got 6 viewers right now, dude. How about that?
What's up? How's it going?
But let's talk about all right, I'm going to bring up a graphic now just cuz we have to. But let's talk about our homie Kevin Lee, the Motown phenom. Just dang it, Kevin Lee. Like, what are you doing, bud? Like, why? He had such potential, and like such like it just seemed like he was gonna be the guy, or at least one of the guys, for a long time, at a certain period in his career. And then he had one of the steepest drop-offs of any guy with that much hype and that much skill.
Yeah, I don't understand, dude. Like, well, he did get in this whole, like, when it was cool to talk crap about the UFC and stuff,
Right.
And then he kind of left on bad terms, right? And
right,
when we were talking about this fight 2 weeks ago, when I found out, I was like, oh, he's gonna have a hard time, coming back. Like, look at who he's facing. Like, I can't even pronounce the dude's name, like, super legit. But I had no idea he was gonna get murdered in the cage, dude.
Dude, it was
like,
such
honestly,
a mollywhopping. You rarely see that in the UFC these days, like that one-sided of a just destruction,
Francis Ngannou, take notes, man. That's what's gonna happen to you.
Alexis is convinced that once Francis kind of gets his head out of his ass and comes back to the UFC, he's going to be the next Kevin Lee. Except it won't last as long.
John Jones would probably be retired if Francis tries to go back. He tried to play the safe game, like, I'll go back when Jones retires,
Right.
And then you'll see, be like, John Jones, Francis is back, and then it's just he'll beat him and then retire. Yeah,
well, that was a one-sided affair, and then also the main event, the Sean Strickland and Magomedov, like that was one-sided too. Like Strickland just went out there and put on a clinic.
Yeah, after the second round, that's when Strickland came up,
just took over.
Yeah, dude, I thought it would when Magomed took him to the ground. I thought that was gonna be it, because I was like, Strickland has the wrestling, but he doesn't want to do it. So I was like, this is how the fight's gonna be. And then dude gasses in the second round, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was over, and it was. Yeah. And Sean Strickland is one of those guys that, like, you do not want to gas out, like, against Sean Strickland. And I mean, I know it happens a lot. He makes a lot of guys crumble like that. But like, I don't know, it just once he knows you're gassed, you stand no chance.
Well, we're like 209 guys, so we like know like the Nate and Nick Diaz eras. Like, right. He's like Nick Diaz 2.0, like the same fight, like in your face. Not
he does, and when you watch him, like that,
wise and all that stuff.
That performance in particular on Saturday, like watching some of the clips, it looks like the way he's boxing, the way he's standing, the way he's holding his hands, the way he's throwing the punches. It looked like he literally was like mimicking a Diaz brother, the way he was doing that and just picking his shots. None of them were like 150%. He was just pop, 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 pop. I mean, he was hitting him fucking hard, but it's like just the way he looked, you could see the influence of that style on him for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, I felt like he'd start slow, but you noticed like it wasn't like his game plan of like 50% punches like Nick would do. It would be like when he hit you, that same punch would be landed, but it would be landed at a harder percentage. And then
it's like every time, every punch he landed went up by like 20%, like power. But yeah, I mean, All in all, it was a weird card. It was a lot of no names, a lot of people nobody cares about. But Alexis went 9-0 and won like what $11 or something. So
yeah,
hooray! Yeah, well, hey, you know what?
Always.
11 off of 0. That's 11 you get to bet next week. Let's go to our next favorite topic, which is Mr. McGregor. And we've obviously been covering his antics a lot lately because of The Ultimate Fighter, which we have both refused to watch any longer now that he has not made his...
Wait, he's 0-6 now. I keep getting updates from my friend, like, Connor lost again. And I was like, great, thank you.
Right. And so we haven't watched it since he missed the USADA window. Because it's just like they're not fighting anymore, and we had talked about it. It's like I don't care enough about the fights on the show because they're so lopsided, and it's like we're not going to get the build up between McGregor and Michael Chandler is null and void because they're not going to fucking fight. So it's just like that show is just a waste of time. But in straight up Connor fashion, because of all of his allegations and everything going on lately, he's losing brand deals and sponsor deals like crazy right now. Go ahead. No, I was just saying, well, the whole reason he was in Miami to get on all that trouble at the Heat game is because he was making a deal with the Heat with his company title, and they canceled that one yesterday or the day before, and it's like, so shit, the whole reason you were there is now because of what you did while you were there is gone. Like,
I think would have looked past that if he was still fighting. Like, say, like he did do the USADA deadline, and like there was a train going, the promotion train of him and Chandler fight. You see all the commercials, like biggest fight of the year. I think the Miami Heat executives would have been like, you know what, it's still going to bring money. Like, let's look past that. But now since he's not fighting, and that whole media circus with that woman and the bathroom.
Yeah, just everything that's happening, and he just, we keep talking about it, is like, how long are people going to be down with the Connor circus if he's not fighting? And like, it can only last, even if he was fighting, it would only last so long if he wasn't winning, because he definitely hasn't won in a while. You know what I mean? So it's like, so if he's fighting and not winning, at least he's constantly promoting a fight. But when he's not fighting at all, how long do people keep giving a shit about this? You know what I mean? Like, we'll see. I mean, we'll keep talking about it, I guess, if there's nothing else to talk about. But there is other things to talk about. We got a big old fight card.
It'll be like 3 years from now. Connor, day one. We've been talking about this. If it
Connor, yeah, I mean, the only thing he has left to do is die at a young age. So, but we have other things to talk about.
Great fighter. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I highly doubt that. But we got a big old UFC 290 coming up. Volkanovski versus Rodriguez for that undisputed featherweight strap. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, just because the fights that are on there, a lot of these, once these fights get done, we can, like, I mean, the Pantoja fight, that one's new blood, but like, I just feel like this is a big fight for let's get something going in another direction.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, you touched on Pantoja, right? Okay, so there's this thing going around right now on social media about Pantoja and Brandon Moreno, that every time Brandon Moreno has fought Alexander Pantoja, something's bad happened. Like he lost tough, and then he got cut from the UFC.
Oh, you're right. Right.
Yeah. Okay, but hear me out. Pantoja's never been top 3 in the division at all. Like,
okay.
Well, now, it's been a while since Brandon Moreno was, cut from the UFC. So like Pantoja should have been at least in the upper rankings to be like child or championship worthy. Why is it now?
I don't know. We're gonna find out. I mean, at least it's not Figueiredo, so that's good. I don't want to
cry baby.
Yeah. So, but this is
Brandon Moreno a lot better than the last 2 fights. Like, give the whole like Izzy and Alex Pereira thing. Like, you can't beat someone 3 times.
Right. Well, we will find out, dude. But let's dig into this thing.
But yeah,
let's go all the way down, and we'll just kind prelims, and you tell me if there's anything that's sticking out to you.
Okay. So Cameron.
Ribavix, I like that guy, that Argentinian guy that kick it off. That Kirk versus Esteban Ribavix. I like that Ribavix guy. But that's all I'm going to say about him. What were you going to say?
Cameron Simon from the South African fighter. You know.
All right, right.
He's a good one. He's 8-0 fighter, but he's pretty legit.
Right.
Mitchell, I'm not really sure. That 15-2 kind of scares me, but you know what? Like Cameron's been on.
You know what scares me is that silhouette picture. Because you know me, dude. I'm all visual. Dude. I'm audible, and visual.
Yeah.
Like you give me a good name or a good nickname or a good picture, and I'm all in. This is mystery.
And he's what, unlocked or locked still? Like,
yeah, dude. We the blue corner hasn't leveled up enough to unlock Terrence Mitchell. Moving up, Vitor Petrino versus Marcin Praccio. A couple similar names there, but we got Poland versus Brazil. This is a light heavyweight. These are a couple big boys.
The Tatsuro Taira or Ciara or something like that. That's
right.
Gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, against Edgar Chairez.
Yeah. So I mean, pretty much like this is a, how would you say, casual friendly card. Like whatever hype train the UFC is gonna roll out, like the fighters that they're pushing on this card are most likely gonna win.
And then so Tatsuro is they're pushing this guy.
Well, yeah. Well, anybody with the clean record, right? So he has 13-0. Victor.
Right. And this is a catch weight, so this is, I think, is like 130 or something like that.
Yeah.
Is what these guys are fighting at. Yeah, and I mean, Edgar Chairez isn't a name, but they're loading this card up with Mexico for obvious reasons. So
yeah.
I think a star could be born in this fight, Alexis.
I would take in that one, yeah, I think so too. But I don't think Edgar might do it. I gotta look at his past fights. Let me go.
What do we got here? Oh, they don't have their past on here. They've got a bunch of different stuff. I didn't realize how many different stats you could look up on this website.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Go ahead.
It'll be just like, be wary if you're taking all the undefeated fighters.
Always be wary of an undefeated fighter who's making a debut.
I would say, what is it? Pacino is probably a good upset candidate. Like he might win, and Chairez too. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, let's move on to the prelim card. Kicking off the prelim card, this is going to be a good one. Jimmy Crute, Alonzo Menefield. This one is probably going to end in a knockout. So prelims are live on ABC. So you got TV kicking it off with this one. This is going to be a good one. Every time they put it on ABC, they put that first fight is usually kind of what should be a banger. You know what I mean? And I don't think any of these guys are heading towards the title anytime soon, but it'll be fun to watch them knock the shit out of each other. I've bet on both these guys and lost, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just like, fuck.
It's hard. Once you lose a bet that you think
I remember
win,
one of them. Who did he fight? He fought it was Askar Mazarov when he was elbowing.
Right.
He had him in the
Askarov, right? Or,
no. That's Mosharov. It's
Askarov's 2025
friends. Yeah. But yeah, I remember we were texting each other because I see the fight and I was like, yeah, that was one that we were like, God, why?
I know, and it's just so hard. But I mean, this one's gonna be a banger. This is one I wouldn't bet on because either of these guys could TKO the other one at any moment. But that'll be fun. That'll be a fun one to kick off the card, hopefully.
I'll take Menefield.
I think Menefield is gonna get that one done under the bright lights of the mouse watching live. Mickey Mouse watching on ABC. Moving on, women's strawweight bout. Yasmin Uruguay. I'm the worst,
Right.
dude. Why do these names have to get harder? Why can't her name just be Susan? But Denise Gomez or Gomes, I don't know. Sometimes they change that up on you.
Yeah. Well, we just need to listen to what's his name? John Anik pronounce it, and that's pretty much.
John Anik's
that's-
the best. And you know what's funny?
Yeah.
I got to talk about something just real quick, okay? I go back and I watch all these shows that you and I do, especially, and then the ones that I do on Bungalow Sports Show, and you make mistakes. This is all stream of consciousness. We're just talking off the top of our heads. We're reading things and saying them as we're reading them. Mistakes have been made, but we just power through. I can't say her last name, so now that I should have just said Yasmin to begin with. You know what I mean? Just stayed away from the last name. Because now, if I do this too much more time butchering these names, I'm gonna be online like Brendan Shaw butchering people's names all over the place and be like, fucking
and then you'll have
swollen tongue.
Yeah.
So
the big videos and compilations of you messing up people.
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to do it. So we're just calling her Yasmin. Yasmin. She's got that Huh?
Yeah, she does. I think it's Uruguay, but yeah, she got that 10-0 record.
She's got that and Denise Gomes is she's a tough ass lady. And I mean, look at her picture. It shows right there. Look at that mean mug she's got. And I wouldn't want to fight her. But it's just I don't know. I think Yasmin's gonna go through this one because Denise Gomes is a real grinder. So I think Yasmin's gonna want to keep it standing. And I think if she can do that,
I saw her last fight. In San Diego, Yasmin. And
Yasmin's got a 75% KO record. So, Denise has a 71% KO record. Holy smokes! And their average fight times are both in.
You had a good record too.
So I mean, dude, this could be another banger. They're loading this up with a bunch of stand-up fights, right? And that's a good thing because it's gonna get some eyeballs on there. This one next should be this next welterweight bout on the card. This should be a real steamroller of an event. Yeah, Jack Della Maddalena, straight out of South Africa. This guy, I guess, behind old Dricus du Plessis, is like the next in line for the hype train out of South Africa, right?
Yeah. He's from New
He's
Zealand.
Australian. No, he's got orange and green. He's got yellow and green, so he's Australian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and look, I just opened up the thing and I couldn't see the flags. I'm just stupid. All right, please, everyone know that if you're watching this, I mean well, but I'm also just stupid. And just because I get South Africa and Australia mixed up, they shouldn't have such similar accents.
No, look, this is how much they're trying to keep this card going because they had another fight. Bo Nichols, like his opponent dropped out. Jack Della Magdalena's fighter dropped out of the card. They kept him on the card. They're just gonna throw him no matter what. Yeah.
Well, they want him to win too. You know what I mean? So because he's kind of they've always picked their guys, and once they find out like the 1, 2, or 3 guys from each country that are really good, they're gonna really, really try to ride them and get them good wins because they're. The UFC specifically is failing in viewership in the United States, but it's growing everywhere else, and that's because they really grasp onto foreign fighters that have potential. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I can see that they're trying to push tough in the United States,
Right. Well, I mean, and then they keep trying to get rid of old American as apple pie Jim Miller, and he just won't let them get rid of him, dude. You know what I mean? But they're gonna give Jack here a tuna can. All right. On the final fight of these prelims on ABC, we got the farewell to one of our favorites, man, Robbie Lawler, dude. This is a guy And now that he's gonna be gone, I'm gonna feel so old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like there's a few guys that are still hanging on, and we always talk. I just brought up Jim Miller, but Robbie had a
Mhm.
whole career before Jim Miller ever even got to the UFC.
Yep.
So it's like, and it's gonna be a fun fight because Nico Price is a fun fight no matter who he fights, and so is Robbie Lawler. So they're gonna go in there and throw down, and somebody's gonna get knocked out. It's probably gonna be Nico Price.
I don't know, man. Was Lawler's last fight Brian Barberena?
I believe so.
Yeah.
No, the
He might-
Barberena fight was might have been 2 fights ago.
Because maybe.
I'm not sure, but
Well,
either
anyway,
way, he's
Nico
all,
Price fairly newer, so this is like a stepping stone for Price. But yeah,
It
the
is.
last fight was Barberena.
was Brian
because
Barberena, right?
Santiago
Because
Ponzinibbio-
they're both coming off losses, and I think they give him Nico Price in this position because they know Nico Price is going to go in there and have a fun fight with Robbie Lawler, and
Yeah.
isn't going to go in there and be scared to get knocked out. And I think it goes either way. Either one of them's going down. Hopefully, the old man can do it and go out on top. But I'm a Nico Price fan, to be honest. I like the guy's fight
Yeah.
style, so I don't necessarily want him to lose. But I desperately want Robbie to go out on a win because if he doesn't, I'm scared that he'll just sign with it, fighting and getting his brains beat in.
Yeah.
So win, so he actually retires. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but so-
even actually, if he wins regardless, we're probably gonna see him in BKFC or something.
You think so? He said he's gonna
I think-
retire. I hope he retires. I just want him to retire.
That's
the-
what a lot of
the
people says. And Mike Perry's gonna be like, "You're a bitch. Come and fight
Right.
me." And then Robbie Lawler's like, "I'm not no bitch, dude." And he's gonna go and fight him. So.
And then Mike Perry's but Mike Perry was just like made for BKFC, dude.
Yeah,
Like, he was just made for that shit. All right, dude, let's get into this main card. This is no longer free, people. You must pay or you must pirate. Whatever you choose. I don't know if you're a criminal or not. You decide. But first fight on the card, Bo Nickel. Change of opponents yesterday, day before yesterday. I'd make it bigger, but they're not. Okay,
Dude,
they're not
honestly-
letting me make the Bo Nickel one bigger because they probably don't have any stats on Val Woodburn because nobody has stats on Val Woodburn.
He's undefeated. He's 7-0. Bo Nickel's 4-0. I mean, they're still kind of evenly matched, but there's no wrestling pedigree on Woodson's. Whoa.
Sorry, my
Uh,
phone was on the stream and then my headphone must have
Oh.
went dead.
Um,
Anyways,
no, but
yeah,
there's no wrestling pedigree in Woodson's, at least what I can find. So this
Right.
is a shoe in. Or,
I mean, Bo Nickel,
stoppage for-
if his original opponent, Trayshawn Gore, not as much of a but was still going to be a blowout. I mean, the odds haven't really even changed with the change of opponent, so that shows you how much they thought he was going to beat Trayshawn Gore to begin with.
Honestly, I would only say this: like, if Bo Nickel does struggle against this guy, like, say, like he takes him to decision, Woodson's a lot more tougher than we expected him to be.
right.
Bo Nickel's gonna have some trouble once he gets into like the top 15.
I mean, that's kind of how it goes. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see because his
I don't think he's
striking
doing
isn't.
that. Like,
I-
he's that good of a
I think that's what
wrestler.
they're scared of. But that's what they're scared of is that his strike. At a certain point, you gotta. And if you
Yeah.
are so, and if you get overwhelmed in the striking department, I don't care how good you are at taking people down. It's really hard sometimes when people keep punching you in the face every time you do it. You know what I mean? And then they
Yeah.
weasel out of a couple takedown attempts, and then they punch you again. You know, we see it time and time again. But his wrestling skills are supposed to be beyond that. So we're definitely not
Or
going to
it's a-
learn in this
Bo
fight.
Nickel's team not accepting those higher fights. You think because UFC is the type of like organization to be like, hey, you're this good, we're gonna throw this guy in front of you. You think
I
his
mean-
management team are like, no, we're gonna work up the ladder.
I always wonder what side it's on, right? Because you hear different things, and it's happened with different fighters too, where certain fighters get thrown to the wolves when they hype train. Other ones they back. Sean O'Malley hasn't really ever been thrown to the wolves per se. You know what I mean? Like,
But
He
he
got
would go
thrown to-
on. He would go on to like social media and like interviews saying that he like makes calculations. And
Right. No, that's very true. Yeah.
Let's give him a challenge. So I mean, it could be that these guys like fuck yeah, I'll take anything, and
Right.
not really wary of what are they getting themselves into, and
Yeah. So maybe Bo Nichols got some smarter people running his decision
probably,
making.
man. If he's been like in the competition circuit for that long, most of his life, like I wouldn't doubt it. He's doing that on purpose.
Right. All right, moving on. Lightweight bout. This one's going to be a banger too. Number 11, Jalen Turner versus number 12, Dan Hooker. Couple easy names to say. I like both these guys, dude. I don't know what to do on this. Recency bias makes me think Jalen Turner might win this because Dan Hooker's really got to turn his shit around. You know what I mean? And
Dan Hooker fight,
huh?
Pretty single-handedly. Dan Hooker won his last fight.
Right. No, I know. But it's just, I don't know. I feel like Dan Hooker wasn't. I don't know. I feel like once he got up to a certain echelon, I think he had, a minor setback in skill set. But I think maybe he's gotten over that. Hopefully.
I don't know, but Turner, dude, I say he's gonna knock him on the ground, and Jalen Turner's gonna submit him.
You think so? You think Jalen Turner submission? Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. I think they're gonna kind of feel each other out on the feet for a while, and then there's gonna be a knockdown or a takedown or a scramble, and Jalen Turner's gonna get a rear naked choke. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry,
but I do like both these guys though. This is one of those shame fights where you don't want to really see either of them lose.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? One of them's got to lose. Just like in this next fight, which is a good one. This is a title eliminator, possibly. I guess definitely for Robert Whitaker. Definitely for both of them, right? Whoever wins this is going to get the next title shot. Robert Whitaker deserves it. Dricus du Plessis has the storyline with being from actually Africa, and he started a little storyline between him and Israel Adesanya because Israel. I said that real white. Israel Adesanya.
Real Adesanya. Honestly, you know what? I thought it was funny how they would play that because like the whole race thing.
Right.
But like, I mean, it's right. He was born there.
Well, that's why you can't.
Adesanya was born in New Zealand, so you can't.
It's
really...
a tricky situation, because that's the thing. It's like, yeah, you are Nigerian. It's kind of like when I always say like Paris is Persian and claims Persian, and they're the most Persian people ever. But it's like you were born in Orange County. Yeah. There's some people that don't claim Persian that were born in Iran. And so aren't they more Iranian than you? Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't matter. But it's also like, you don't ever, Israel Adesanya is constantly, especially when like Ngannou and Usman had the straps and shit, like they were really pressing on that Nigerian African born champion stuff or African champion. But it's like, no, Adesanya was born in New Zealand, wasn't he? Or was he born in Africa?
Yeah. No, he was born in New Zealand.
Right. And
I looked it up just to make sure we could talk about this. Because like honestly, it'd be the same like if Mitt Romney's dad and me got in a fight and Mitt Romney's dad was telling people about me that he's a real Mexican and I'm not because I was born here in America.
Right.
And he was born in Mexico. Right. Like he's kind of right.
And exactly.
To say about it,
Yeah, he is a Mexican. You know what I mean? And you are an American. Like and du Plessis, just because he's an apartheid baby, doesn't mean he's not an African.
like him, Cameron Simon in the early prelims, like all from Africa,
right?
Yeah, like
you can't take that away from him, and that's the shitty thing. Is like, what's it gonna be? Let's say du Plessis' plan works, he beats Whitaker, and then he beats Israel Adesanya. Is UFC going to play up the African champion? No, it's not, because he's white, and it's not the way of the culture. People are going to get mad at the UFC for saying that this guy's their African champion, because he's, and it's just like, it's going to be confusing. But
it's not his fault. But it's not his fault that he was, like, born out of apartheid, like, from the Dutch settlement.
Right. It is. Hey, it is what it is, and it's
Francis Ngannou's gonna be like, I was starting PFL Africa for du Plessis to become champion. This is not what I planned for.
Well, it's like in America, like as a white guy in America, when people say, "Oh, they just came over and killed all the natives and took their land," I can say, I didn't have nothing to do with that. You know how long ago that was? And then they
Yeah.
can talk about slavery and stuff. And I can be like, you know how long ago that was? I didn't have anything to do with that. But like, apartheid in South Africa was like, it was a couple decades ago. It wasn't that long ago. So it is like a really like, but it's also like Drakus didn't do it. He was just a baby born into it. So it's like it's not his fault he was born in that piece of land and he wasn't born in the Netherlands or wherever the fuck his people are from. Like it's a tricky situation, but I would like to see just to see how the UFC like handles that narrative if they were to fight each other, right? Because you have a New Zealander in Israel Adesanya who is very his walkouts, everything like very takes the African side, his Nigerian side very seriously and puts it out there. But then you have this guy who is a natural born African, but he's white. How are they going to handle it? And I want to see it. And I want Robert Whitaker again. I would love to see him get the title back, but it's like it's the same thing about like how many times do we need to see him fight Izzy? How many it sucks to be you or Whitaker, but it's just kind of where we're at right now.
He fights Izzy again. Will this be the fourth one or the third one? I think it's the fourth.
I think it'll be was it the fourth one? And third or fourth, but it's
third one.
Third one, and
they should just give it to Duplessis no matter what. Like if I was the PR team for UFC, I'm like, hey, this is good. Like we can see like people take sides like immediately and like get a bunch of you looking at this freaking shit show of of a comment that Duplessis said. And I think Duplessis actually is a legit better wrestler than Robert Whitaker. Not kind of like sneaking that in there. Whitaker is a good wrestler, but you really don't see him use it as much. And Duplessis is legit, like uses it mostly in his game as a fight game. And
honestly,
like if Robert Whitaker wins, it might be a decision. But I would expect to be a hard fight, and I'll be rooting for.
Well, the thing about Duplessis is like his fight style, although he's well rounded, like he's very sloppy, right? Because he's just going 100 miles an hour, and he's winging shit, and he just looks sloppy and tired all the time. So people think he has a cardio problem, and maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I think his style just looks so tiring that like. It's just weird, and Whitaker is one of those guys who's super tight and technical. You know what I mean? So like, it's gonna be an interesting one, and I think it's gonna go to decision. That one for sure, but I mean, I could be wrong. But all right, dude, let's get on to some straps, man. This one is a trilogy fight or a quadrilogy?
No. It's a trilogy fight.
This is a trilogy for the flyweight title. Huh?
It would be considered it's two because the first time they
fought the first one was on Tough, which doesn't count technically. So it's Brandon Moreno, flyweight champion versus Alexandre Pantoja. This is going to be one of those flyweight super fast fights. Both of these guys are super fast. What the flyweight division was all about. These guys are kind of your Mighty Mouse 2.0 kind of. They're so well rounded that I think this one can't be bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, like just like what we said in past podcasts, like Brandon Moreno's boxing is going to be top notch compared to Pantoja. He's going to have power. He's going to have that jiu-jitsu game. The grappling is going to be there, but Brandon Moreno's jiu-jitsu,
his boxing and just the way he puts 1-2s together, like just so fast on you, like just right out of the gate, you know what I mean? And he throws every kind of punch, so it's not like you're just looking for straights or hooks. He's so well rounded in the boxing that he can throw all of his punches at the same speed. You know what I mean? So it's like he's super dangerous, especially at the beginning of rounds. So like Pantoja is going to have to weather a storm, I think, at the beginning of every round and try to work it to the ground.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, like, okay, so remember, in the beginning of the podcast, I was talking about Pantoja, like, why wasn't he in the top?
Already,
when he beat Brandon Moreno the first time, his next loss after he beat Brandon Romero Moreno was Davison Figueiredo.
Oh,
So
well, there
right
you go.
there, right off the bat, Davison like took him out, right? And
Right. So it took him
Brandon
out of
Moreno's
the talk
only
for
one
a
that
few
like
years.
single-handedly destroyed Davidson. So
Yeah. So hey, this is gonna be a great one, dude. Like, a lot of people don't get excited about flyweight title bouts, but I like them. They're so fast. You know what I mean? It's like you're watching it for a whole different set of reasons you watch a heavyweight bout for. Like, it's kind of like in heavyweights, it's like who's gonna knock who out. In this one, it's like who can throw more punches, dude. Who can win the scrambles and shit like that.
yeah, honestly, I feel like what's gonna happen in the beginning is Moreno's gonna cut him. It might be a doctor stoppage. Like Brandon Moreno's really good at that shit like that. So just get a good slicing elbow over your eye, and then
Right, we've had a lot.
You know,
We've had a lot. We've had a lot of those lately too. We've had a lot of cuts. What do you think? You think Brandon Moreno takes that one?
Yeah, dude. I think he's good. No matter what people are saying that Pantoja's got his number. I'm like, well, that was
like you
that
said.
was a while back.
It's really hard to beat somebody 3 times. You know what I mean? And this is, even though it's technically the second time on paper, they fought. And at the time, that fight on The Ultimate Fighter was the most important fight of their careers, and Pantoja won. You know what I mean? So it's like, Brandon Moreno's got a lot of resentment, I'm sure, and a lot of shit built up where he wants to win this fight. And he's one of those guys who is always a good fighter, but as soon as he won the title, it's like he went into another mode. Does that make you know what I mean? Like, I feel like after he got that title the first time, when he came out again, it was like, oh, like he's the guy now. Like, he was a guy before, but now he is the guy. You know what I'm saying? That's real technical sports talk. All right. Let's go up to featherweight, 145. We got a title unification bout between interim champ Yair Rodriguez and I guess what do they call a linear champ Alexander Volkanovski.
Who single-handedly beat Islam Makhachev but lost to the judges.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Like, going into this, and that's why that Volkanovski, like, it's weird. You're looking at his record right here, and it says last fight loss, and it's like, like, even if I feel like he could have won 2, but let's say he did legitimately lose that decision. Like, how he was able to fight against Makhachev, as a 145 pounder, makes me think that there's no 145 pounders on earth that can beat Volkanovski. Like,
well, I'm gonna tell you, Cole, my gut tells me Yair to stomp him.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh God, I'm so glad you said that, dude. I just need a little feather. Yeah, because like I said, on paper, with the way Volkanovski performed against, it should show you like, well, shit, if he did that to Makhachev, he could do it to anybody. But Yair is that he's that guy who knocked out the Korean Zombie with 1 second left with an upwards elbow. He's that guy who sleeps people with flying knees. He's that guy, dude. And so on paper,
if you talk
go ahead.
Okay, well, yeah, Yair. Well, so like, they've all beaten the same people coming up. So like, there's nobody that can say like,
you can't play the math game with them.
Yeah, you can't play the math game. So they both like starched everybody that was in their path coming up to here. I'm just hoping Volkanovski's like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I don't have to worry about this guy. And then Yair just like smacks him with like a spinning roundhouse knee or something.
Well, but that's also the thing. If you think about Volkanovski in any tough fight he's been in, Volkanovski gets clipped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He gets clipped, he just has that skinny guy power where, like, usually somebody throws like an unorthodox strike, and it may have crazy power. It looked cool, but it's not gonna have crazy power. Yair lands that cool shit with hella power, and like, if he could be the guy. I don't know, dude. I mean, because I could see a moment
even if
like that.
Volkanovski wrestling,
Yeah, Yeah.
Like if Volkan
Well-
obviously tries to wrestle, like Yair does good at like transitions and stuff. So
100%. And like, not to compare Volkanovski to Korean Zombie, they're not the same guy. But like that particular move he landed in that fight was one of those moves that kind of sets the stage for your whole career, where it's like nobody can ever count you out of just clipping
Yeah.
somebody with the smallest little thing and putting them to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, because if that elbow was a fist, it would have knocked him out. If it was a knee, if it was a foot, like he did it on purpose. Watch the replay. It wasn't an like he ducked under and he lifted that fucking elbow straight up. There just happened to be 1 second left, you know? And I can see something crazy like that happening on Volkanovski going in for a takedown, you know what I mean? Going in with his head down and getting clipped. Oh, man. You just made it so much more interesting for me, because I was just looking at it, and I've been seeing a lot of the Volkanovski Makhachev highlights and stuff, and I'm just like, damn, he fucking was there with Makhachev and basically like could have won it, could have not, but
I would agree with you and do this whole thing like, well, you know, Volkanovski's a meat and potatoes guy, you know, like you throw someone flashy, but Yair's got that. Yair's got ground game.
Oh yeah, and no doubt.
And he has good transition defense. He's good at you know, getting submissions off of transitions. If he gets taken down, like he'll roll with it.
Right.
He's very different. He's what we talk about, like the flashy fighters, what they should have.
He's the flashy fighter that it pays off. You know what I mean? Like you see a lot of guys out there, your Uriah Halls, who have that kind of flashy skill, but it just never comes. They never can put it together with a successful run of fights. But Yair, that's what he does. That's what makes him successful, is his success with that unorthodox crazy shit and how much power he puts behind it.
Yeah, so I wonder, like, because even if Volkanovski just tries to pressure him, his Yair's movement's good, and like he's able to like dart in and out quick. Like he'll be able to create space no matter what.
Right.
Unless like say like Volkanovski's game plan is to get him up on the fence and just smother him that way.
Right.
But that's
probably Volkanovski's. But the thing, Volk's one of those guys who likes to go out there and try to beat you at your own game, or tries to.
Yes, and that's what
at your own game.
Yeah, I keep thinking that going up against Yair Volk, and if you do win, I'll be like, all right, you're right for doing that.
All right, dude. We're a Yair podcast, dude. We're going Yair tomorrow, Saturday night. So if you're brave, go with me and Alexis, because I like that, dude. I'm a Volkanovski fan, but you know me, I love parody. I love differentness. I would love to see I would love to see Yair Rodriguez lose this fight, and then Volkanovski wait and beat Makhachev. You know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see what happens.
So say like he loses a strap here, right? Like say Volkanovski, and he goes up and fights Makhachev again. No one's gonna care. Everyone's going to still feel like you're the great, but I want Yair to win. Yeah, I think that's more what I would like to say.
All right, before we go, real quick, let's go down this main card. Let me get your main card picks here, Alexis. So we got Yair.
Yeah, Yair.
We got Brandon Moreno.
Duplessis.
Dan Hooker. Jalen Turner.
Yeah. And Bo
Nickel. So we got Bo, Jalen, Dricus, Brandon, here. If you're rolling with us, put a few ducats on that if you got them. See what happens, man. Alexis went 9-0 last week. Don't what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Don't let him tell you that.
No, with the card before that was like only two. We mostly took dogs and only two of them won.
All right, so before we go, this obviously, if you're still watching, thank you. If you popped in, popped out, thank you. This was our test. We just wanted to do one of these. These shows aren't going to be live. This was our test. I like it better when they're recorded because I can put the graphics in better. They can look cooler. I can have my cool background. So this is a test for our live events. And if this first one goes off without a hitch, then we'll hopefully be doing them every couple months, or every time we see a big pay-per-view we like. We're going to do live events where you can all get in the chat. We can watch it live together.
Well, it'll be easier, right? Because I'll technically be there, so it's not going to be like you won't be. I would say relying on my screen game.
Oh, you're gonna
Live.
be hitting studio?
Yeah,
Oh, you're coming back?
yeah,
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, then it'll be real easy because
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, no worries. But yeah, so everybody tune in July 29th. We'll all be in studio, and there'll be guys popping in from the network. Some of our friends might pop in. Who knows? It's gonna be fun. What else? Oh yes. This was the other order of business. If you watched our last episode, Alexis and I talked about renaming the show, and I've talked with the suits at Peak One Sports, and this show is going to become a real boy. This is going to be a real show. We're going to give it a real name. We're going to have a little more structure to it as far as like, I mean, I know the last few episodes we've had structure and had our graphics and had everything going right and all our store, our current events and everything. We're just going to get a little more structured, be a little more legit about this show. So what we're going to do as far as the name goes, between Alexis and I and some other select individuals, we're going to put together a list of 4 potential names. And I will make logos for each name. And we'll try to get you guys to weigh in over the next few weeks. We'll get other people to weigh in over the next few weeks. And on the Fight Night Live, we're going to pick our new name. And then from then on, we will go on and be a real podcast after that. We won't just be a Fight Night preview. We'll be a full-on MMA podcast. So look for that coming up. But all right, buddy. I guess I can hit the outro music because I actually have some outro music on the side here. I don't know what's happening, but now it's frozen, of course. Should we... Good Lord. Whatever, dude. All right.
So good.
But so yeah, thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Alexis.
Yeah.
We will